According to the latest census data, 21% of Floridians are 18 years old or younger. Children are our future. And each year, over 100 organizations come to Children's Week in Tallahassee to fight for that future. The United Way of Florida has been teaming up with many of those organizations, advocating to the state legislature and pushing for programs and services that empower children and ultimately our state's future.
We've been hosting Children's Week for 18 years, and really this event is about bringing together Florida's children and families from across the state to the state capitol to engage in civic education, engage legislators and policymakers about the process, and educate them on programs and services that they're receiving, and really to shine a light on children's issues when policymakers and our elected officials are making tough decisions on budget and other things at the state capitol during session and Children's Week. Starting with the hanging of the hands, we've hung over 100,000 paper cutouts of children's hands in the state capitol rotunda, and that's Children's Week for the whole week. They'll be up in the capitol so children and families can come view that, and when policymakers walk through the capitol halls starting today, they're going to see all these hands and all the messages from children. We have over 100 different partner organizations that support Children's Week, including Comcast and many others, and we really it ranges from early care and education groups who are advocating for early intervention treatment and special education for kids and families. We have groups from the full spectrum of children's services coming up to Tallahassee. We have child care centers and schools all around the state who have sent us hands with messages written on it to legislators for Children's Week. And really it's an opportunity for policymakers to hear from children and groups, and let them hear their personal stories about how certain programs are affecting them, and certain decisions that their policymakers are going to be making are going to impact them.
Our mission is to represent the best interests of children, and that's really our only mission. If they've been abused and come into the foster care system, we are their child advocate. We are around the child. Each of our volunteers has on average 2 children, and we become the voice for them in court, and we advocate for them and fight for them in the educational system, in the child welfare system, and often we become the mentor to the child, and we really care about the children. Special thanks to those 9,000 volunteers that are out there. They're making such a difference in the lives of children, and we appreciate them. Also, I'd like to thank Comcast for being such a great partner to children. We really appreciate it, and all those that are advocates for children understand how important their commitment is. This week is so important for our volunteers because we know how important that prevention is, and child abuse prevention is a big focus here.
Thousands of people head to Tallahassee in early spring to support their mutual mission, children. The United Way has many events for them to participate in.
Our Children's Capital for a Day, which is going to be featuring 100 different interactive booths and activities for children and families at the state capitol. We have a free breakfast for kids and families, milk, yogurt, granola, fruit, and then we have a free lunch for all kids and families that are traveling around the state. We give out 2,500 lunches to all groups across the state. So it's really a day a living classroom at the Capitol for children and families to come up, learn about the process. We have guided tours of the old and new Capitol that will be going on and taking place. We have legislators coming out and reading to young children, providing them books. If there's a day to come up to the state capitol, Children's Week are those days, and the Children's Capital 4 Day is really that spotlight that, with those thousands of people coming up to the capitol that are really shining a spotlight on issues facing Florida's children and families.